It's time for the Douglas Coleman Show. Mr. Smooth and Savvy is joined by guests from all walks of life, from the entertainment industry to authors to political and social commentators, the famous and not so famous, the controversial and the light and fluffy. We have it all. Now, here's Douglas Coleman.
Okay, please welcome to the Douglas Coleman Show from the new Zoo Revue, Doug and Emmy Jo Momary. Hi, guys. How are you?
Fine. How are you? Thank you for having us on your show.
Oh, my pleasure.
Yes, thanks a lot.
I got a real kick out of this when I saw this come through. My producer sent it to me, and he said, do you remember this show? Because I'm old enough to remember the show. And it was funny because as soon as I read through the bio, that song, the theme song from that show that's been sort of seared in my memory since I was a kid, came right back. I remember nothing else about the show other than the song. But that song stuck forever. Did you write that, Doug?
I did. I wrote that theme song when I was 22 years old, and I also wrote over 600 songs for the series.
Oh, well, that's great. Well, listen, my hat's off to you. As a fellow songwriter, any song that sticks in your head like that for the last 50 years, you did well with it.
Thank you. I noticed that you are a songwriter and that you're in Las Vegas. We used to live in Las Vegas. In fact, I still have a production company there.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I've been doing music since forever, and the show came out of the music, and it's a long story. We won't get into that, but yes, a fellow songwriter. The new Zoo Revue, was that a Sid and Marty Krofft production or no?
No, it wasn't. Sid and Marty Krofft were involved in making the costumes in the show, but that's the only contribution they made. We hired them to build the costumes.
Oh, okay. All right. Because I was remembering the other sort of full-life puppet ones that they did, Sigmund and the Sea Monster, and what was the other one? Puff and Stuff. Yeah, right. That was the other. And they were all around the same time, yeah? Early to mid-'70s?
Yes. And that's why, they were the experts in building the costumes, so we hired them to bring our designs to life.
Oh, okay. So who did produce this show? Was it yours?
It was produced actually by a company called Funco back in the 70s, and it was kind of a conglomeration of people. But my hand in it was creating it and writing the storylines and the music and lyrics. And then Emmy Jo and I were characters on the show as well.
I was probably just a little bit too old for the show, and it was funny because I seem to miss them. Like I was about 7 or 8 years old when Sesame Street first started. And, I was just a little bit too old for that. And then by the time New Zoo Revue was on, I was 10 through 15, which I think is older than your target audience would have been at that time, yeah?
Yes, you're a little bit old. We were kind of preschool to 8 years old, that kind of niche that we had. But I'll tell you, you might have liked some of the script writing because we did a lot for adults. I mean, not but just told some pretty funny jokes. And Charlie the Owl was always ad-libbing and making it fun for the parents to watch as well.
Was there sort of two levels of humor in the show, like Rocky and Bullwinkle? Because that had two levels of humor,
Yeah, yes, it was. It was a lot of double entendre.
Double entendre, right?
Nothing risque or anything, but just something that would make the parents laugh. Like, I can't believe he said that.
Is the show still on somewhere?
No, it's not syndicated anywhere. We have a YouTube channel that has 20, 30 episodes, and they're also, I recolored them, remastered them audio and visually for Prime Ticket. And so there are 14 shows on Prime, and I'm trying to get more to put them up on Prime because they look really good, hold up pretty well.
So is there a revival going on with this? I mean, we did get your PR person's sort of blip for this, and I wanted to have you on the show. But is there something going on currently with the show that you're promoting?
Actually, yes. This all started when our daughter, we have 3 kids, and our daughter, who was just a baby when we did the show, but she just came in the house one New Year's Eve, and actually a year ago, and said, I think it's time that you had a Facebook page. And we really hadn't even thought about the show or done anything in 50 years or more. And by golly, she does all of our social media. And I don't know if you've seen our Facebook page. It's the New Zoo Revue. And there are quite a few New Zoo pages that don't have anything to do with us, but ours is the New Zoo Revue. And then she also did a page called the New Zoo Revue Family Reunion, which is one where our grown-up New Zoo kids can post pictures of their families, their pets, whatever they want. So we've really got 2 Facebook pages. We've got a great store now that she set up that everybody loves, where people can get autographed pictures, cups, T-shirts, all kinds of products. And it's just, Douglas, it's taken off. I mean, there's just a new life to the show now, and we just have people coming out of the woodwork who grew up on our show and now want to show it to their grandchildren.
Yeah, we're also on Instagram and X and all the platforms, really. And we're thrilled with the comeback because, like Emmy Jo said, we've been I've been behind the scenes directing and producing commercials for and other videos for the last 40, 50 years, and while Emmy Jo was taking care of our books and making raising the kids. So this revival of interest in the show, I mean, we have almost 60,000 followers now, and it's just growing all the time.
And our daughter is always planning something fun on that Facebook page. For example, on Valentine's evening, I think it's at 7 or 8 o'clock Central Time, we're doing, this is the second time we've done it. We are doing a live event where we watch an episode from New Zoo Revue together with our New Zoo kids. And we'll all be watching together, and people can comment on it, and we're going to comment on it. And we've done it once before, and everybody just loved it. And our New Zoo kids, I didn't come up with that name. The kids that are that grew up on our show and that are flocking to our Facebook page, they began to call themselves New Zoo kids, because I guess most of them are in their 50s, and we're older than that. So I guess they still kind of look up to us a little bit. And so they just said, well, we're going to be your New Zoo kids. So
when you guys do any of your publicity tours, do you bring the other characters along, or are they still around? I'm remembering Freddie the Frog, Charlie the Owl, and Henrietta Hippo.
Yep.
Right?
Yep.
Well, we did. The first one we did did Comic-Con in San Diego. I don't know if you're familiar with that, but that was the first one we ever did. and we brought Freddie the Frog with us, and so each personal appearance that we do, we try to bring a character. We were in Philadelphia 1st of December, I think, and we brought Charlie the Owl with us. So.
We're thinking it's time for Henrietta to go to one. If we can get her out of the refrigerator long enough, we may take Henrietta.
I'm reading on here that Mr. Dingle was played by Chuck Woolery in the first season.
Yep.
That's funny.
Yeah, we gave him his acting start, believe it or not. That was the first thing he did. And
that was before all the game shows and yeah?
Yeah, that was the first thing he did out of the gate, and he played Mr. Dingle. And in fact, the episode that Emmy Jo was talking about, the one we're going to play on Valentine's Day, Valentine's evening, features Chuck in the role of Mr. Dingle. And it's a show on sensitivity, because, each show that we did had a theme where we were trying to, encourage kids to get along, be tolerant, show kindness to people. And so that was our this show is on sensitivity.
Do you think that show would fare well now? I mean, not in the sense of a revival show, but if you were to produce this new, do you think it would work today? Because a lot's changed from the 70s.
Absolutely. People are so wanting a show that is wholesome, and to see the values that Doug captured in all of his scripts and storylines and songs are timeless. And our show deals with treating other people respectfully, being kind to each other, making good choices and being wise. And we have, everybody that we meet, they're all wanting their grandkids to see it. So obviously, if and when, and I think when is more likely, the show does come back, Doug and I will probably we might make cameo appearances or something, but obviously there'll be a younger Emmy Jo, a younger Doug, the same characters. And, we've had, animation would be a great thing. We have on our Facebook page, some wonderful animator animated the theme song, and it's just so cute. And something like that, I think, would go over really well. But, people want something where mom can go in and make dinner in the kitchen and not have to worry about what her kids are watching on TV. And I think the wholesome nature of our show is something that people are longing for.
Well, I have to agree with you, because a lot of the children's shows and shows, generally speaking, now have kind of a political and social message that some people don't agree with. There are people that do and some people that don't, but yours, I think from what I remember and from what you just said, is about basic human emotions that we can all relate to, regardless of our political views, right?
That's right, Douglas. And we have a very, very diverse audience. And so the things that we explore are things that everybody, just being human, the golden rule, treating other people the way you want to be treated. And, like one of the funniest episodes Doug did was on manners. What parent doesn't want their kids to have manners? I remember that one so vividly, because Freddie we were teaching him table manners, and he tossed his roll, and I think it landed in the soup or something. And so there's just general things that we can all appreciate.
Yeah, and Douglas, you were talking about today's kids shows. There's a very dark side to some of these shows, and I think it's very destructive to kids. We're not allowing kids to be kids.
Yeah, and there's been a lot of controversy with some stuff that Disney's put out, and it's not the same, because Disney used to be the sort of classic one that you were talking about, you could put on and not have to worry about what your kids were watching. But some of the Disney stuff has become kind of politically slanted, and people don't necessarily want that for their 3-year-old. Raises too many questions that they don't feel like they want to answer at that point.
And children have a right to be innocent. And I think one of the things that our show did, and it was just unconscious on our part, we weren't thinking about it, but just let these kids just grow up as children without any kind of a political agenda.
Exactly. So is there a revival? We were talking about that. Is there going to be, a new Zoo Revue with new characters, or I'm not new characters, but new actors, or is that in the works at all?
Well, it's not in the works now, but it's a real dream of ours, and we think that it really would have an audience now, and so we're going to be actively working on that, Doug, and we just pray that it comes about. I'm also writing a new kids show as well that I'm hoping to get started, and it deals with the internet and bullying and that kind of stuff, so, with all new characters. But I think there's a real need for our show to come back.
What about an AI version?
Well, that's could be the animated version of that.
Yeah. Because I would think that production costs would be high if you had to go back and do all the costumes and things again like they used to do them. But if you did kind of an AI version, it might be cheaper. I don't know. Computer animation is not cheap by any stretch, so it's hard to say.
It isn't cheap at all, and our show now would cost a lot of money to do it the way we did it back then. With the costumes and the characters and the voices and the dancers and everything that went into it.
Because you did everything for real, right? There was no special effects on the show?
None at all. I mean, we actually, it was like a live review where we did 5-minute numbers all in one take with 3 cameras switched live. And it was a daunting production schedule, but we just had a ball doing it.
Now, was it performed live in front of an audience or no?
No, just the cameras.
Okay. Okay, but I mean, all the characters were there on stage, and it was all done the way you saw it, right?
Yeah, there was, and you saw some takes that we just didn't redo because we didn't have the time or the money, but most of the time everybody got it right.
So
we were really blessed to have tremendously gifted actors and dancers to work with us on the show, and I think that made a big difference. They were consummate professionals.
So the show originally ran from 72 to 77. Was it a daily or a weekly? I kind of forget.
Well, it was actually a daily show when it first went on in 72. It was a 5-day-a-week show. It was a different show every day. And, it ran through the 70s, and then it was syndicated through the 80s and the 90s. So we really have 3 generations of kids that know about it and watched it. So, it really has a lot of legs even today.
So originally when it was on, what time slot and network was it on?
Well, it was syndicated. It was what they used to call barter, where, they would have their own commercials within the structure of the broadcast. And we were syndicated throughout on different channels. Like in Vegas, it was on Channel 5. In Dallas here, it was on Channel 11. So it was different channels and different networks that chose to run it. And, we initially, we did 196 half-hour episodes in all. And so we reached, I think it was, the Nielsen ratings were like 3 million kids a day were watching it.
Even if someone put these old shows, because you did how many did we do altogether?
196.
196. Syndicated those now, or put them somewhere. I mean, there'd be a huge audience, because it's been kind of overwhelming to us, Douglas, honestly. When our daughter started this, we just never realized the impact the show had on so many lives. And it's actually been very rewarding to hear their stories, and we love getting out where we can visit with people and and find out how old they were when they watched the show and what they remember about it. And it's just what our daughter has done. It's just been a wonderful gift to us, honestly.
Well, I think that's the true value of some sort of a production, be it a film or a song or a book or something, that it's timeless, and that people years later will still be saying, "Oh, I remember that." I remember, because there's so much that, especially now with the internet, where everything is a TikTok 15-second clip that might go viral, but then, in 6 months nobody's going to remember it. But this has real lasting value, and I think that there's more. There's more meaning for that. There's more meaning to that sort of content.
I think you're right, and we wanted to take our time, with each subject, and we did. I mean, each show was a half hour, actually 22 minutes long, and it was really a musical comedy for kids. It had 3 songs, which furthered the plot, furthered the action, and you got to learn about the subject and the characters and what they were feeling. And we really took the time to explore each subject in depth, I thought.
Are you guys going to be appearing anywhere in the next few months? Are you doing any kind of tours?
I can't say where, but our daughter is working on that, and she's nailing down a few things. Let's put it that way. So I don't want to say for sure where we're going to be, but yes, we will definitely be out and about, and because we love to meet our new zoo kids. It's really fun to be able to visit with them and see how well they've grown up and what they're doing with their lives now, and it's just we can't wait. It's fun.
We didn't know the impact of it, Douglas. We really didn't.
Well, I think there's a lot of people like me out there who just can't get that theme song out of their head.
Well, thank you. As a fellow composer, that means a lot.
Oh, it's believe me, it's meant as a great compliment, because if you can remember the song from 50 years ago, you're doing all right. You're doing all right.
Yeah.
Well, guys, we got to wind this down. Thanks so much for coming on. This was a delight to talk to you both.
You're welcome. Be sure to go to our Facebook page, because there's tons of clips on there, and I think you particularly, Douglas, will enjoy that after this interview. So
yeah, I'm going to check it out. Do you have a general website that you want to give out, or just do you want us to push everybody to the Facebook page?
Yeah, push them to the Facebook page is great. There is thenewzoorevue.com, but then that'll take you to the Facebook page and all of our social media links as well.
And our stores there, too.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. All right, great. Well, thanks again for coming on, and best of luck. I hope this thing keeps going.
Thank you so much.
Thanks so much, Douglas.
Appreciate
Have a great day.